It's 7 days until the UK election, and as summer hits the island, political debate is heating up. There's anger.
Well, I think the country's going to dogs, really, to be honest with you.
Fear.
We can't run away from it, we're living it, aren't we? We're living a nightmare.
And frustration.
There needs to be an option for, I don't want to vote for any party because it's not good enough. There needs to be an option for that.
Labor, led by Sir Keir Starmer, looks certain to claim government after 14 years of the party languishing in opposition. The Conservative incumbents, led by Prime Minister Rishi Sunak, are facing the possibility of a wipeout.
We've come up the famous M1 to the Yorkshire town of Barnsley, a place proud of its working class history, which has meant for generations Labor has been an insurmountable political force. But a Labor win here isn't guaranteed on July 4.
So Barnsley's got a history of mining, which suggests left-wing views, or certainly Labour views. But the reality is a lot of people in this part of the world have got quite right-wing views.
Up until 2 years ago, David White was a Tory local councillor. Now he's the Reform candidate for Barnsley South. Reform is the Populist party led by Nigel Farage, a former EU MP.
We are the only political party in this country who wants Britain to leave the European Union and are serious about reducing immigration numbers into this country.
His Leave campaign in 2016 was widely seen in the UK as a key reason as to why Brits voted for a Brexit.
Critics of Reform say its immigration policy is tinged with racism.
Absolutely ridiculous.
But here we are, 4,000 dinghies and 128,000 people later. I don't know about you, but I think it's fully justified to call what is going on an invasion of our islands. I really do. I really do.
A complete moratorium on non-essential immigration is a pretty drastic measure. Wouldn't that have an adverse effect on the economy and the services industry?
It is a drastic measure, but we're in a state of emergency in this country. Every single thing we look at is broken.
On a Barnsley high street, David White is sweating on every vote as election day gets closer.
Whew.
You warming up?
I'm bloody boiling now. Yeah.
This weather's quite mild for us. So.
Tried Conservatives. We've already tried Labour.
No. Labour will always put taxes on.
Yeah.
So, of course they will. Yeah, 100%.
You're going to kill the working man.
Yeah. Can I give you one of these to have a read of?
What is it?
Have you made your mind up for the general election next week? No?
No.
Are you voting?
No.
If you don't vote, you can't complain, can you? That's the only thing.
This is one area where Reform's previous incarnation, the Brexit Party, took votes from the Conservatives and traditional working-class Labour voters. At the 2019 general election, the Brexit Party finished 8 points behind Labour. David White says his internal party polling indicates this contest will be much closer, in part due to an increase in vote among younger people. A recent YouGov poll showed Reform national support from 18 to 24-year-olds was double that of the Conservatives. David's 21-year-old campaign manager is a recent Reform convert.
I think it's seen as a fresh party, just real common sense ideas, and that's striking with the younger people because they like what they hear. It's like, why haven't we done this before? Why haven't we implemented this?
Well, that's a question. You guys are younger voters. Are you frustrated with where the country is at the moment?
Oh, I'm probably going to vote for Raj because he seems to be the one that talks most sense.
Yeah.
He seems to be an English version of Trump, where he wants to put his foot down and try to get country up and running again.
Yeah.
And
what Reform offers is a simplistic populist message. It's an anti-politics message. To be honest, parties like Reform are doing well across Europe and indeed in the US. You know, that there is an appetite for that form of populism.
While Labour has lost some votes to Reform, pollster Joe Twyman says it's much more of an issue for the Tories.
Labour will be leaking some votes to Reform, but it's unlikely to make a significant difference for Labour, certainly in a large number of seats compared to the Conservatives.
Former Tory Cabinet Minister David Gauke is worried about the impact of the Reform Party on politics more broadly.
I don't think that a complete wipeout of the Conservative Party is good for our politics, is good for the country in the long term. And I worry about what may follow. But this has been a long story, if you like, where several missteps going in the wrong direction, inappropriate, unsuitable leaders, and the consequence is that the Conservative Party is not really pleasing any part of the electorate at the moment.
A recent Sky YouGov poll showed Labor will more than double the number of seats it holds. The Conservative Party could be reduced to 108 MPs out of a parliament of 650 members. 257 Tories could be out of the job by next week.
The campaign has not made much difference to any of the parties, with the exception of Reform, who really have been the success story, not just of the campaign, but of this year in general. They have seen their share of the vote increase significantly, and they're now polling consistently just behind the Conservatives. In some polls, they're even ahead, though not by much.
Even the best opinion polls suggest that the Conservatives are heading for their worst performance, possibly in their political history. It's going to be a very difficult night for the Conservative Party and a very big win for the Labour Party.
And as lifelong Tories desert the party, even those in Rishi Sunak's hometown of Southampton, who knew him before his political career began, seem to have had enough.
And they were lovely people. And I knew his mother when she was expecting him.
How do you feel he's been as a Prime Minister?
Do you want my honest opinion? Hopeless.